You know how it is you're in the market for an electric sedan. Tesla's name keeps popping up, but maybe you're after something a little different, something with a unique design, perhaps a hint of European style.
Right.
But then you look around and realize, outside of the SUV craze, the options are surprisingly, well, limited.
That's the interesting landscape we're navigating today, isn't it? For those of you seeking an electric four-door that isn't a Tesla, one car consistently generates buzz as a compelling alternative, the Polestar 2.
Okay, let's unpack this. The Polestar 2, Swedish design, built in China, rocking that cool liftback look. It's been around since, what, 2021? Got a refresh in 2024, and it's even streamlining its lineup for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So the big question for you is, with all these changes and the way the market looks now, does the Polestar 2 still stand out as a great choice, especially if you're intentionally looking beyond Tesla? Our deep dive today pulls primarily from a recent review that really put this vehicle through its paces.
And what's fascinating here is Polestar's positioning. They're really trying to capture the attention of those who might be looking for an EV experience outside the, let's say, Tesla ecosystem. They see themselves as that fresh alternative, particularly for those who might be, as the review cleverly put it, shell-shocked Tesla expats.
Interesting phrase. Now, let's get into the details, starting with the design and what's changed. The review we looked at mentioned that the exterior tweaks for 2024 were pretty minor, right?
Oh, yeah, very subtle.
The main thing being that filled-in front panel, the Smart Zone, which is apparently all about making their brand identity consistent across their models.
Exactly. It's a move towards a more unified brand look. But the real substance of the 2024 update lies beneath the skin. We're talking about a new, larger 82 kilowatt-hour battery and a pretty significant overhaul of the motor setup.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because for the single-motor versions, they've switched to rear-wheel drive. Rear motor, rear-wheel drive.
Big change.
That's the same approach Volvo's taking with their EX40 and EC40, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea being improved efficiency and, crucially, greater driving range for you.
And that shift has a tangible impact on how the car feels. The reviewer was actually surprised by how much the Polestar 2's character changed with rear-wheel drive compared to that earlier front-wheel drive setup.
Really?
Yeah. Even the current all-wheel drive models now have a more rear-biased feel, apparently, thanks to a larger rear motor. So the key insight here is that Polestar has fundamentally changed the feel of the base model, making it more engaging for driving enthusiasts, even if they aren't opting for the higher performance AWD.
So it suggests a real focus on making it a more rewarding car to drive, maybe.
I think so, yeah. It suggests a real focus on that.
Speaking of a rewarding drive, let's talk power. That new rear-wheel drive motor puts out a healthy 295 horsepower and 361 pound-feet of torque. That's a noticeable jump from the previous front-wheel drive single motor.
Definitely.
And while the all-wheel drive still hits 60 in a brisk 4.2 seconds, even the rear-wheel drive manages a respectable 5.5 seconds.
Which, as the reviewer points out, closes the performance gap more than you might initially think. While the allure of the all-wheel drive's quicker acceleration is understandable, the rear-wheel drive is certainly no slouch in terms of power.
But there's a catch here for U.S. buyers, isn't there?
Yes, if we connect this to the bigger picture for you, it's important to note that the single-motor trim has unfortunately been discontinued for 2025 in the U.S., largely due to those tariffs on Chinese-made EVs. So moving forward, you'll basically be looking at the top-spec performance trim.
Oh, okay. A bit disappointing if you were hoping for a potentially more affordable entry point, but that's the current situation. Now, the reviewer also had high praise for the ride and handling. Apparently, that chassis is really well sorted.
Mm-hmm.
It's entertaining when you're going around corners, offers good grip, and manages to feel both smooth and agile despite its weight. That sounds like a nice balance to have.
It does indeed. It suggests that Polestar has really prioritized those fundamental aspects of driving enjoyment, aiming for a car that's engaging without sacrificing everyday comfort.
Which is nice to see.
Yeah, especially in a market that's increasingly focused on taller crossovers, a sedan that still emphasizes this is definitely noteworthy for someone looking for that more traditional car feel.
Okay, let's move on to what's crucial for any EV owner. Range, battery, and efficiency. That new 82 kilowatt-hour battery seems to be making a real difference, pushing the claimed range for that rear-wheel drive model up to an estimated 320 miles.
That's the EPA number.
And the reviewer's real-world testing seems to support those figures pretty well.
Absolutely. They average a very respectable 3.92 miles per kilowatt on a longer trip, involving both freeway and country roads in fairly warm early summer conditions.
Okay.
Even when driving with a bit more enthusiasm, the efficiency only dropped to about 3.49 miles per kilowatt. These are solid numbers, especially considering the Polestar 2 isn't designed to be the most aerodynamically sleek vehicle out there, unlike some of its competitors.
Like the Ioniq 6, maybe.
Exactly, like the Hyundai Ioniq 6 that really prioritizes that aero for maximizing range. That 82 kilowatt battery is a good size, allowing for that impressive claimed range, and it's a significant step up from previous versions, meaning less range anxiety for you.
Good point. And when it comes time to plug in, what was the charging experience like? It sounds like they've increased the maximum charging speed to 250 kilowatts.
That's a respectable peak charging rate, yeah. And the reviewer's test at an EVgo station showed a 10 to 80% charge taking just over 30 minutes, 30 minutes and 24 seconds, to be precise.
Pretty close to their claim then.
Quite close, yeah. Polestar claims 28 minutes, so it's in the ballpark. However, they did note that the charging curve was somewhat gradual, meaning that peak 250 kilowatt speed wasn't sustained for a very long portion of the charging session.
Ah, okay, so it tapers off.
Right. While the initial speed is good, it does taper off as the battery gets closer to full.
But here's a significant advantage for you to consider. Access to the Tesla supercharger network. As of late 2024, all Polestars can use superchargers with an adapter.
That's huge.
And the charge port being located on the rear left side sounds like a thoughtful design choice, potentially making parking at superchargers less awkward compared to some other non-Tesla EVs.
That is a major boost in convenience, no doubt. Access to the extensive and, let's face it, reliable supercharger network really enhances the practicality of the Polestar 2, especially if you plan on taking longer trips.
Definitely.
And that charge port placement definitely avoids some of the more challenging parking situations we've seen with other EVs trying to use those supercharger stalls.
Let's step inside the Polestar 2 now and talk about the interior environment. The reviewer pointed out a simplistic design for the main screen, which they actually found kind of refreshing, especially when compared to some of those massive, almost overwhelming displays we're seeing in other EVs. However, they also noted that if you're coming from a Tesla Model 3, you might find it a bit on the smaller side visually.
That really highlights a fundamental difference in design philosophy, doesn't it? Polestar seems to be aiming for a more integrated and less dominant screen presence. However, the reviewer also mentioned that the cabin can feel somewhat enclosed or claustrophobic due to the relatively high window line and the predominantly dark interior materials. So for you, someone looking for maybe a less minimalist and perhaps more traditionally styled interior than Tesla, this could be a point to consider.
Yeah, and they weren't particularly impressed with the rear legroom or that high center console in the back, saying it could feel a bit confining for passengers.
A bit tight back there.
And only one easily accessible front cup holder. That seems like a minor detail, but for some people, those everyday usability aspects can be surprisingly important.
Oh, absolutely.
The age-old question of where to put your coffee, it's the little things that can drive you crazy, right?
Exactly. It's these small details that can sometimes have a bigger impact on the overall user experience than you might initially think. The reviewer made comparisons to the Tesla Model 3, which offers a more spacious-feeling cabin but potentially less conventional ergonomics.
Yeah, that screen-only setup.
Right. And the Hyundai Ioniq 6, known for its generous rear legroom but perhaps tighter headroom. The Polestar 2's interior is described as feeling more normal in its accommodations, which for many might actually be a welcome familiarity.
And in terms of the quality of materials and how well everything is put together, it sounds like the Polestar 2 holds up pretty well.
Yeah, the review said the fit and finish were solid,
Okay.
and the materials were seen as being a step up from what you find in a Model 3, though perhaps not quite at the level of some other entry-level luxury vehicles, maybe some of the German brands.
So decent, but maybe not class-leading luxury.
It suggests a good middle ground, offering a slightly more premium feel than the Model 3 without necessarily reaching the absolute heights of established luxury brands in terms of material opulence. The review did mention that the newer Polestar 4 offers an even nicer interior, hinting at potential future improvements in this area for Polestar generally.
Interesting. Now let's talk about the tech side of things. The Polestar 2, as we know, was one of the early adopters of integrated Android Automotive, launching it way back in 2020. How is that system holding up in its current iteration?
Interestingly, the reviewer noted that the core functionality hasn't drastically changed over the years. It still provides pretty seamless access to Google services, including the Play Store for apps and Google Maps for navigation, which is a significant benefit for many users already invested in that Google ecosystem.
Uh-huh. And it sounds like Polestar put some genuine effort into the design of the user interface itself. They describe it with rounded elements, sans serif text, almost like a high-end tech gadget, or even Scandinavian furniture in its minimalist aesthetic.
Yeah, nice visual design.
Quite a contrast to some of the, let's say, less polished Android Automotive implementations we've seen in other vehicles.
That attention to the visual details definitely contributes to the overall premium feel of the Polestar 2. It reflects a cohesive design language that extends beyond mere functionality. However, the reviewer did point out that there were still some occasional quirks in the user experience,
Oh, like what?
such as moments of unresponsiveness or the system may be performing an unintended action. So, not consistently perfect, but generally easy to navigate with a reasonably structured menu system, although it can be a bit text-heavy at times.
So, not entirely flawless on the software front then. Were there any specific examples the reviewer mentioned where this system fell short? For someone used to a very seamless smartphone experience, are these the kinds of frustrations that could be a deal breaker?
Well, the review mentioned a few instances where the system took maybe a moment longer to respond than expected, or where a command didn't register on the first try. These weren't described as major recurring issues, more like occasional hiccups that could be slightly frustrating for someone expecting a completely fluid experience all the time.
Okay, so minor annoyances mostly.
Seems like it. And while Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are available for those who prefer them, it's worth noting that they aren't wireless connections. You still need to plug your phone in.
Ah, okay. Good to know. Safety-wise, it's good to know that all trims of the Polestar 2 come equipped with the Pilot Pack, which includes adaptive cruise control, a really handy feature for highway driving as it automatically adjusts your speed to maintain a safe distance from the car in front.
Yeah, standard 80 is good.
And the review also listed a comprehensive suite of standard safety systems, stability control, lane departure warning, the usual stuff. Plus, it earned a 5-star safety rating from NHTSA,
Which is great.
although it hasn't yet been put through the full testing regimen by the IHS.
That 5-star NHTSA rating provides a solid indication of its crashworthiness, though. While IHS testing would give a more complete picture, especially with their newer tests, the inclusion of a full array of standard safety features is certainly reassuring for you and your passengers.
Definitely. Now, let's address what has fundamentally shifted the Polestar 2's position in the market. Pricing and the available trims. This is really crucial, isn't it?
It really is.
The single motor variant that the reviewer actually tested, which had a price around $56,750, is no longer available in the US due to those tariffs on vehicles imported from China.
That's a really critical point for you to understand. The discontinuation of those more accessible single-motor versions means the entry price for a brand new Polestar 2 in the US is now significantly higher.
How much higher are we talking?
As the review highlights, all 2025 models come in a single fully loaded dual motor specification with a starting price of $66,200.
Wow.
The only standalone option you can add is Napa leather upholstery for an additional $4,000.
Ouch. So, in a relatively short period, the Polestar 2 has moved into a much higher price bracket. The reviewer astutely pointed out that this top-spec Polestar 2 is now actually more expensive than the Tesla Model 3 performance.
Which is its natural rival in terms of speed.
Right. Which at the time of the review was priced around $54,909 and potentially eligible for federal tax incentives, which the Polestar isn't.
Correct. No tax credit for the Polestar due to where it's built.
And the base Tesla Model 3. It's a significant $22,000 cheaper. So, considering you were looking for something different from Tesla, but now the price difference is so significant, does this fundamentally change whether the Polestar 2 fits that bill, even with its unique design and features?
That price difference is indeed substantial and really alters the competitive landscape for the Polestar 2. The reviewer's conclusion is quite clear. While it remains a fantastic EV with a lot to offer, it's fast, it has a distinctive style, and it's enjoyable to drive the significant price increase. Now positions it more as a direct competitor to the higher performance EVs in the market, like the Model 3 performance.
Rather than the standard Model 3.
Exactly, rather than being that more affordable alternative to the standard Model 3. As the reviews simply put it, the cost of entry is well above the Tesla now.
It's a bit of a shame because the review strongly suggests that the Polestar 2, in its previous pricing structure, was a genuine and compelling rival to the standard Model 3.
It really was, yeah.
But as they also noted, for some buyers, that premium might be justifiable simply to avoid any association with the Tesla brand or, indeed, with Elon Musk himself. That speaks volumes about brand perception and individual preferences.
It really underscores that for certain consumers, the decision-making process goes beyond just comparing technical specifications and dollar amounts. The Polestar 2 offers a distinct brand identity and a different overall ownership experience. And for some, that has a tangible value worth paying more for.
So, to bring it all together, the Polestar 2 is still, without a doubt, a very good electric sedan. It boasts an attractive and unique design, offers engaging driving dynamics, and has a solid tech platform, especially with its integrated Android Automotive system.
Absolutely. It continues to be a compelling option within a relatively limited segment of the EV market. However, the crucial takeaway for you is the significant increase in its cost due to the discontinuation of those more budget-friendly trim levels.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
It's no longer the direct, more accessible alternative to the base Tesla Model 3 that it once was positioned to be. It's now operating in a more premium price segment.
Right. So the title of that review we leaned heavily on really sums it perfectly. The Polestar 2 is still a great Tesla alternative if you've got the cash. That's the key consideration now.
Precisely. The value equation has shifted quite significantly. You really have to want the Polestar 2 specifically.
So here's a final thought for you to consider as you weigh your options. Given the current pricing of the Polestar 2, does its unique appeal, its distinct design, and its non-Tesla identity justify that considerable price difference for you?
Or does the value proposition of other EVs, including the now much more affordable base Tesla Model 3 and even its higher performing variant, become simply too compelling to overlook? Ultimately, it really comes down to your individual priorities and what you value most in an electric vehicle.